right, everybody. Coach Dana Cavalea here with the Becoming a Champion show. And I got a great episode for you today with Mr. Carl Bachmann, president of the franchise and burger company, Smashburger. It's a great company, and Carl is a total innovator in the food space. And he shared some amazing stories with us of how he got started and just his journey in food, his passion for food, how he kind of went against his parents and did his own thing and carved his own way through the food industry. And now he finds himself aligned with one of the great brands in the food space. So sit back and enjoy this episode with Mr. Carl Bachmann. I know you're going to enjoy it. And if you do, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and share these lessons because they're very powerful. So for you, did you always have a desire to be in the business or the food business in general? Like I'd love to learn about your journey.
I started actually, I always wanted, probably like most people, I wanted to be a professional athlete and, didn't quite make that. But I loved competition athletics. And when I stopped playing a lot of competitive sports, the one thing I found in the restaurant business was the adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
So working through college, and I worked in restaurants in high school too, but working through college at restaurants, you got that same adrenaline rush you got on the football field or whatever it may be, a Friday or Saturday night in a busy restaurant, and the intensity and the excitement and the social interaction. And so I just fell in love with the restaurant business, and I'm a very maybe extroverted people person. So for me, it kind of filled a void. And both my parents are like corporate attorneys and thought I'd be a lawyer. And I said, no way. That would be boring. I couldn't do that. And I'm sorry for any attorneys listening, or my parents, or my people on my team, but it was just a passion for that adrenaline rush. And then I got really engaged and involved in the food business and a love for food and creation and creativity. But to me, it's like running a team or a sport. It's about building a team and being competitive and winning every day. And that's it. That's the passion, So that's how I ended up in the food business.
I love it. I actually started in the food business myself. As a young guy, I used to bus tables. And I always say this is my message to any young person I meet, or even parent that talks to me about their kid getting their first job. Make it be in the food business, because you will learn so much about people. You'll learn what it's like to work under pressure. And I relate to that Friday and Saturday night. And actually, there's a pizza place in Mount Sinai that called Rocco's Pizza, and it used to be called Paradiso Pizza. And that's where I got my start. That's where I got my start in the restaurant.
Paradiso? Really?
Yeah, that's it, right there.
Go there.
Yeah, so that's where I got. That's where I got my
King Collins Shopping Center.
That's it. The former King Collins Shopping Center.
That's right.
Now it's gone, but it'll forever be known as that.
That's right.
No, that's cool. So what was your first entry point into the food business outside of being a patron? Was it like locally up in the Westchester area, or?
Yeah. So I worked bus tables and worked in restaurants, and I got a job. It's funny, I got a job delivering Chinese food at a high-end Chinese restaurant that opened in my town, and I was the only non-Chinese person in the restaurant, but I knew the neighborhood and I had a car. And I remember my mom saying, "You're not allowed to drive that car when you're doing deliveries. I don't know if the insurance will cover it."
There you go.
So she wanted me to drive the big commuter van that they had. So I would drive around my small town delivering Chinese food. But I got to really watch what incredible culture, work ethic that these people had, and to put this gourmet product out and how hard they worked. And there was such a camaraderie in that restaurant, because they bussed all the people came in from a community in Queens, and they came up to Westchester. So they would come together, work together, had their meals together. And there's it was just beautiful chemistry, like a team. Yeah. And man, I was just like, I got it, loud and clear. And so I started doing that. And then in high school, I worked in an ice cream parlor, making fresh ice cream and ice cream cakes. And one night the owner came in and said, "Hey, how come the days you work, there's more money in the till than any other days?"
Wow.
and I said, "Well, I'm honest. I work hard and I try to sell, I enjoy it." And so then he made me the manager. So I started managing an ice cream parlor in high school and making sandwiches and fresh cookies and fresh ice cream. And I realized I just had a passion for it. So it was an easy thing to fall into when you're working your way through college. And that's really how I started. So yeah, since I was very young, I've been working in the restaurant business probably since like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
And been doing it ever since.
And I guess again, like you had said earlier, you saw your parents and what they did and the line of work that they were in, and you just said, "Hey, that's not for me," and you carved out your own path.
That's right. Yeah, there was no way that and I interned and I worked in the law firms that they worked at. Had summer jobs, and watched what an attorney did and the hard work and they had incredible work ethic. I mean, attorneys work incredible amount of hours, and they have important jobs and roles in supporting organizations and people in general. But the thought of losing it's the adrenaline rush, the engagement, the excitement, and it's very rewarding to really take care of a guest. It's very rewarding to see someone enjoy, seeing a family come in and enjoy a meal and having good times together. In this life, we all work so hard. Yeah. And it's so nice. So I really enjoyed that part of the business too, to please a guest and please a family and make them feel good about an experience. And you meet every walk of life in the restaurant business, no matter whether you're working in a fast food joint or a 5-star restaurant. You meet every walk of life, and you kind of become, bartending days and stuff like that. When I was younger, you kind of become a little bit of a therapist as well, because you listen to people's problems and you see the highs and the lows, and it's really an incredible social outlet in this world. So to me, it was a no-brainer seeing people sitting behind a desk and pushing paper, and I said, that's not for me. I want to be engaging and engage people and enjoy people, and so that was what drove me to do it, I guess.
It's like, it's the service business, and then there's this energy component, and if you're an energy guy, and I think everybody should be an energy person, I say you're responsible for the energy you bring, and you go into these environments and they should light you up.
Oh yeah, exactly. And it does. Like I said, that adrenaline rush that you lost from playing sports in high school, and then you say, wow, that camaraderie and that teamwork and that excitement, I found that in the restaurant business. Yeah. And you're right. It's all about energy. And I still probably the most energetic guy on my team. And I make sure that I drive positive vibes and positive energy in everything I do. Even when times are tough, that's when you got to step up and drive it with more energy and excitement. And I think that's contagious. And so, and contrarian to that is the opposite. If you're a leader without energy, you're going to fail. You got to drive from the front and be excited and engaging and empower your people through that energy. So I think that's a key component to success for sure.
Yeah. There's so many, parallels between sport and business done well. One of my favorite things to see is, if I go for a walk in the morning in a city and I come across a restaurant and it's about 11 o'clock before the lunch hour, and I see the leader of the restaurant, the manager, he's got everybody huddled together. And I'm thinking of a place in particular down in West Palm Beach where I'm listening to the motivational talk and the manager going through what it is we're going to do today, what it is we want to pay attention to. And at the end, everybody cheers and breaks it down just like a sporting team would. Right. And I'm like, that's why this place is a winner. And behind every great business is usually a manager like that and leadership all the way up.
Yeah. In our business at Smashburger, I find that the number one most important role in the organization is not mine. And it's not anybody on our leadership team or executive team. It's the general manager at each restaurant, because that's the person that drives what you just talked about: pre-meal meetings, huddles, excitement. They're the ones that bring the energy every day, and they're the ones that are customer facing, and they have such an amazing, tough, difficult job to do. But if they have the right attitude, it gets easier, right? And I think that's the key. So the general manager for us is the most important person on our team, because that's the person that leads that huddle you're talking about, and that excitement and bringing the energy. And then they're really the captain of the ship, And I think about that and how it relates to sports, because I think it's 100% the same kind of mentality and camaraderie. And without that leadership, there's a void. Yeah, and that's the key to our success.
Absolutely. When you define Smashburger, is it is it just a straight fast food restaurant, or would you say what's the difference between fast food and fast casual?
That's good. That's a good question. No, I wouldn't say we're a fast food restaurant at all.
Yeah.
I would say we're maybe quick service, but we feel that we're what we call a fast casual restaurant. And it's funny because I don't think the average consumer necessarily designates what's fast food and what's fast casual. We in the industry tend to define it. But the way we look at it is fast casual for me is an elevated experience. I think casual dining in the 90s created fast casual in the 2000s. Some of the mistakes that they made in casual dining, and I know as part of that industry as well. But I think Smashburgers definitely would be considered fast casual. We cook to order. We make our products fresh. We put the top best ingredients we can find. We serve to the table. So some of the elements that would define fast casual are a little different than a fast food order type restaurant. You do order at a counter, but now with technology, you can order a lot of different ways in our restaurants. So we want to give people really the key to to defining fast casual, I think, is giving them an elevated experience from fast food. I think young people today, and really all ages today, are demanding a better experience. It's really creating comfort in uncomfortable times. Yeah. And I think that was exacerbated during the pandemic, but even before the pandemic, I think it was important for people to understand that a fast casual environment really gives you a sense of enjoying the experience. It's a total dining experience, whereas fast food is really, it's like a fuel system. You have to have it. It's fuel. And I think at Smashburger, we want it to be more of an experience. And we want to elevate that experience, still keep it at a price point that's palatable for everybody, but give them that little bit of an elevated experience. So I think that's the difference between fast casual and fast food.
Yeah, I guess it's too, hey, I don't want to go sit for an hour, but I also don't want to just grab and go. I can come here, bring the family. We could relax a little bit in a nice environment, have a nice meal, and then go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the things we've done in the remodel of the restaurants when I relaunched Smashburger in 2019 is we added more updated music, elevated the sound a little bit, changed the color palette in the restaurant so it was more inviting, added TVs for sports viewing so that everybody felt comfortable. So whether it was the softball team after the game wanted to go in and have a beer and a burger at Smashburger, or whether a family wanted to go in there and have the kids' meals and mom wants to get a salad and dad wants a big double beef brisket burger or whatever they want, we were able to kind of provide for that environment. So I think fast casual is really, and what Smashburger offers is a version of casual dining that's modern today and what people are looking for. It's still a much faster experience than sitting in a full service restaurant, placing an order with a waiter or waitress and waiting for that process to go. So I think people still want things quickly, but they want the experience as well. So I think fast casual kind of creates that environment.
Yeah. How many restaurants make up the Smashburger family? Like how many?
Right now we're about 241 restaurants, about 50-50 between franchise and corporate. I'm on the road to 1,000. That's the kind of what I've been charged to do. So we're building quickly and growing. Okay. So we'll open about 21 restaurants this year by the end of the year. And then next year we're somewhere around 40 plus. Okay. And growing. So really exciting times for us. And we're in about 36 states, 8 countries, and expanding. So it's a fun time. I mean, the pandemic was challenging, but it turned out to be the 2 best years of Smashburger's history in sales growth. So, really exciting times for us.
Yeah. When you said in 2009 you had a relaunch. I mean,
2019.
Excuse me. Sorry, 2000. I'm falling behind. 2019, a relaunch in 2019. How do you go about that with 240 restaurants? And then what led up to that?
Well, we were a private equity held small ownership group that owned the company, and we were sold to a company called Jollibee Foods Corporation, JFC, which is one of the largest, top 15, with a vision to be in the top 5 restaurant operations companies in the world. And that really stimulated me to work for a company like that. High standards, high value system, and they buy companies and they build them and grow them and hold them. And they think generationally too. And they think about what are we going to do in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years to build our brands. and leaving, being able to work for a restaurant operations company who had pride and passion in actually operations, as opposed to a lot of other companies that sell and flip companies. It gave us kind of the impetus to say, all right, how do we relaunch this brand and make it more modern, more relevant? So what I did was, the first thing I did was look at our food. Because I think the number one thing that we focus at in JFC companies is taste. If the taste is right, we believe our products, our processes, our people, our systems can help us turn a business around and get it to a good place and grow it and create great opportunities for our teams and create great opportunities for our shareholders and great experiences for our guests. But it starts with taste. So we knew that the original founder specs were brilliant, and Smashburger at one time was the fastest growing chain to 250 units way back when, or 200 units ever in the history of the business. So we knew that we had something, good bones in the business. So the first thing I did was focus on taste. Elevated the quality of our beef, elevated the quality of our bacon, artisan cheeses, have the best quality buns. If you start with great products, start with great elements, then you have a very good chance of success in the end game, which is giving a great customer experience. So that was the first thing, focus on taste. And then I put into place what I call my 5-point plan, which was around number one thing was infrastructure. Infrastructure to me meant rebuilding a team, getting a world-class team of leaders, really thought leaders, engaged leaders. My theory on leadership is I don't have to be all the great ideas and have all the great ideas and be the creator of every single brilliant brainstorm idea they come up with, but I need to create an environment where great people can flourish. So I was able to hire and bring on some real veteran leaders in the industry that I've worked with, and some I haven't, some I have, but I've known. I've been in the industry for over 30 years. So I was able to find some great leaders and build a world-class leadership team to help me create this kind of turnaround or relaunch of Smashburger. So infrastructure was number one. Taste, I already talked about, was number two. And then number three was redefining our portfolio. We had grown across the country probably too fast, and we'd grown like a vine. And I think you need to grow like a bush. So that's the hub and spoke approach. When you grow like a vine and you dot restaurants all over a big country like the United States, you can't get media penetration. You can't get operational expertise. It's costly and it's hard to do. So it's hard to operate. Supply chain, you really stretch your supply chain. So there's so many different reasons why you want to grow kind of in a hub and spoke process. And I said in 19, I said, really got to focus on a really simple thought, and that's fish where the fish are. And easier said than done. I'm not that great a fisherman, but I knew that we needed to have density. So I really focused on core markets like Denver, where we were based, tri-state area here in New York, New Jersey, where we had some penetration. And then we redefined our portfolio. What I mean by that is we closed underperforming stores. We opened better locations. We really wanted to be main on main. I really wanted to be upfront and present. I had a new product. I was excited about a new product. So I put in a change to our portfolio, and we've really focused on that density and really creating where there's gaps in services. Those are opportunities for us, and finding good co-tenancy and good co-anchors, and then renovating the look and feel of the restaurant. Change the color palette. We had a lot of reds and yellows, which worked maybe at a time, and it was very dated look to the rrestaurants. Those red and yellows, by the way, in fast food are mustard and ketchup. So a lot of people don't know that's why a lot of fast food restaurants, the arches, McDonald's arches are yellow, So, makes sense. So we decided to change the color palette. So we lightened our colors, more modern colors, more vibrant colors. So lightened the color palette, like I said, changed the music, changed the environment, and really gave our employees a world-class, beautiful restaurant to work in. So they had pride in it and proud of it. So that was part of redefining the portfolio. So that was step 3. Step 4 was really embracing working for Jollibee Foods. You embrace a culture of what they call FSC, which is really around, it started maybe as an audit process, but it's really about a commitment to high quality food, high quality service, high quality cleanliness and condition of your restaurants. It's really striving for perfect in those areas. And, so we really committed to embrace the FSC culture of really that level of restaurants, from cleanliness to condition to service, And that's what we call FSC.
Yeah.
And then finally, step 5 was letting everybody know about it and redefining our marketing approach and really brand positioning and putting together a world-class marketing team with a great marketing leader. And that was step 5. And that's how we relaunched the brand in 2019 and started the relaunch. It's a process. It takes years. But luckily, we had done that. I took over in this role in August of 2019. So 5 or 6 months right before the pandemic. So
yeah, timing, right?
That was how we did it. And that's what we've been doing ever since.
Well, I guess with the pandemic, I'm assuming that you guys had to close a lot of inside dining. So did that give you an opportunity to revamp some of the restaurants, without the pressure?
Absolutely. During the height of the pandemic, a lot of our competitors contracted. So I expanded.
Yeah.
I expanded the menu. I rolled out a new, our most popular limited time offer we ever did, our smoked bacon brisket burger, which we're actually doing again now.
Okay.
And then it gave us an opportunity to remodel restaurants. So we did a lot of remodels during the pandemic. But we had also launched into the digital transformation of our company into delivery. We did that in the fall of 2019. That was part of our transformation. So we were well protected in the pandemic in the sense that we offered delivery and takeout services. And you're right, our business went from 60% dine-in to 2% dine-in. And yet we experienced the best double-digit growth in the history of our brand throughout the pandemic. So it was a time for transition, but it gave us an opportunity to really work on all these things that I've talked about.
Yeah. Sometimes too, obviously we didn't plan a pandemic, but I think it separated a lot of companies. It showed, who had the chops to hang, but it also gave those that were committed to the future a chance to regroup and say, hey, what are we really doing here? And let's do things maybe a little bit differently going forward.
Yeah, I think it was about maybe early April, and I put together what we call a BCP, Business Continuity Plan call with my leadership team every morning. And we met for the first 6-7 months of the pandemic, 7 days a week.
Wow.
So we were able to move faster than everybody else. Things that might take 6 months to do because of process and bureaucracy, we did in 6 days. And we did throw some things at the wall. We tried some new things.
Yeah.
Meal kits and feed the frontliners and a lot of programs that really worked for us. But the key was saying, hey, you know what? We're going to coin a phrase here. We're going to become pandemic positive, both culturally and from a sales perspective. So we're not going to let this beat us. We're going to fight through it, and we're going to keep our people working. My number one motivation was to keep my people working, keep the restaurants open during those times. So in the beginning, that was what drove us every day was, hey, we need to keep a roof over our employees' heads and food on their tables. We didn't know what the future was holding. We didn't know about PPP and all the different things that maybe the government would support or not support. Yep. And we didn't want to rely on anybody but ourselves. So it was a very focused approach. And it really was, and we coined that phrase. We said, we're going to be pandemic positive, and we're just not going to look back. And we're going to go with our plans. As a matter of fact, we're going to accelerate our plans. Yeah. When a lot of people, again, contracted because of fear or not sure what to do, we said, go forward and go forward hard. Yeah. And that's what we did. And it's paid off dividends for us.
I love it. I got a lot of calls at the beginning of the pandemic, and I said 2 words: play offense. Play offense, because defense is, like you said, it's associated with contraction, and offense creates expansion and growth. But another thing I wrote down that you said, I love this, try new things. And most people think of, a big company like a Smashburger as they could be just fixed. This is what we do. This is how we do it. We're slow to move. We're slow to change. And I love the approach that, hey, we're not afraid to try new things. We don't have it perfect yet. We're working for perfect. We're always working for perfect.
Yeah. One of the things I say about being a leader, and I'm gonna steal a phrase or paraphrase a quote, but I always believe to succeed or to win, it's about striving for perfect every single time. Knowing I'm never going to achieve it. Yeah. But I'm pretty certain I'll find excellence along the way.
Yeah. I think that's a Lombardi. Lombardi sounds like a Lombardi quote right there.
It really is. And, even though he didn't coach the teams that I root for, I look up to a man like that because I really believe that's it. I think complacency is the death of business, the death of teams, the death of everything. So we're constantly moving and changing. So big companies that don't change get left behind. And I wasn't allowing Smashburger to do that. So we continue to strive. I push hard. Sometimes maybe too hard.
Yeah.
But I never believe that we're ever going to be perfect. But I certainly believe I'm going to go for it every single day. And I think that's really helped us at Smash.
Yeah. I remember actually the first Smashburger I ever came across was in White Plains.
Still there.
Yeah. And I just remember seeing the name and I thought it was such a cool name. It was bold. Like everyone knew the other companies that were out there that were serving burgers, but this had an edge to it and it had a different way. It just came across very different to me as a consumer. And I always thought it was very, very cool, even back then. So I could only imagine now, with the relaunch, what it's going to be.
Yeah, we really lean into the name, and the name is because it's what we do, which is a great name. So our founder who's brilliant in many ways, culinarily, and really coming up with that name. It's what we do. So in our new restaurants, I lower the counters, I open the kitchen, because I want you to see what Smashburger really is.
Yeah.
So we move the grills up front, and you're going to start seeing in the remodeled and the newer restaurants, you'll start seeing us smashing burgers, hand smashing burgers, and that's what we do. And the reason why you hand smash a burger is to seal it, to get that sear on the bottom of the burger. And then we have special spatulas where we scrape it to get that beautiful seal and that beautiful, what we call meat candy on the bottom of the burger. And, have you ever cooked a pancake and you watch it bubble up and then you know to flip it? It's the same thing here. So we know to flip it then. We flip that burger. And now we've locked in all the flavor and all the juices in our proprietary seasonings into that burger. That's why you smash. Yeah. So you never should smash a burger along the way. You smash it once, you smash it right, you create the sear, and that's Smashburger. And that's why we do it. And that's why it's the name. Yeah,
it sounds like an awesome commercial in the making. Just smash it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's one of our phrases is smashed it. Like we just relaunched our LTO from last year, smoked bacon brisket burger.
Okay.
And it just says, I think it says bacon, brisket, both smashed it. So,
love it.
And we have a lot of play on words, like when you nail it, when you do something perfect, you smashed it. So, so we do play with that a lot. But yeah, that's our process. It's very simple.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And so when you're planning this growth that you're you have forecasted for the future, is franchising still going to be an engine that you're using to grow, or are you looking to stay more corporate in terms of?
I think we're going to do both. Okay. We're growing corporately now. I think it's really important to be a good franchisor and a great partner. That's a partnership. So I think it was really important that I got our ducks in a row and fixed our house before I sold it to somebody else. Yeah. So I'm a firm believer in that. So we have slowed down franchise growth in the last couple of years, but that's changing now. Okay. As we're getting success and our remodeled, our new look, and about 80% of our restaurants will have been rebranded sometime next year. And then we will be relaunching our franchise growth. And we've gotten a lot of interest recently in activity. So I think we'll grow still more corporately in the first couple of years. But over the next 5 or 6 years, I think you'll see us grow more franchised than even corporate restaurants.
Yeah. So it sounds like
it's a blend.
It sounds like it's a little bit of the quote, slow down to speed up. So you slowed everything down, you regrouped, and then you said, okay, now we're ready to start going again. But we're not just going to run hard. We're going to go hard, but we're going to go strategically, and we're going to get faster and faster over time. And I appreciate, again, a big company that does that, because there's a lot of younger folks out there that are getting into business now, and they think they have to go hard all the time, and they're actually not aware of what's going on around them. And then all of a sudden they say, "Oh my gosh, look at all these mistakes we made," and it becomes so much that it could potentially swallow them.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice, and I think that's exactly what we did. Is we said, wait a minute, let's make sure we've got the right box. That our four walls are right, and I really believe I want to have a tier one, top of the industry product, service, and system set up so that I could sell to franchisees and they can have success.
Yeah.
It's very short-sighted and short-minded to sell something that you don't believe in or you're not ready to sell. And I think the long-term play, and the one beautiful thing about working for JFC is again that value system, and they believe, the humility to listen and learn, be humble, understand, get it right, and then develop and grow. And I think to be a good partner for our franchisees and currently and our future franchisees is really to make sure our mousetrap is the best in the business. And once we do that, then we go hard again.
Yeah.
So it's never be complacent. So I'm always tweaking and changing the business and trying to make it better.
Yeah.
You have to do that. I think you have to constantly be innovative and yet still stick to your core as well. And that's a balancing act.
Carl, how do you keep yourself fresh? I mean, it's a big business. There's a lot of people that come to you, I'm sure, with a bunch of problems that need solving, and you're being pulled at. How do you keep yourself, focused? How do you keep yourself fresh?
Me personally?
Yeah. I mean, this is about you today too.
I guess I try to find balance in life.
Okay.
I'm very passionate about my teams and my kids and my family, and so I tend to I don't do a lot of different things. I'm not one of those guys that has a million hobbies, but the things that I do really are rewarding to me and make me feel good about it. So, but first and foremost, get enough sleep. Literally, yeah. I know that sounds like silly advice, but get enough sleep, be fresh, be ready. So I really worked hard at trying to make sure that happens.
Hey, I'm in bed at 9 o'clock, so you're preaching to the choir here.
My mind runs a million miles a minute, and so I used to, in the old days, I used to keep a notebook by my bed, and I would write down all the thoughts that I had right then and there, so I could kind of get them out of my head, so I can get a good night's sleep, and I could start effectively the next day. Now I'm a little more digitally savvy, I guess. So I put on my cell phone a little notepad there.
Okay,
but it's the same idea. So I think you got to clear the mechanism.
Clear the mechanism.
Clear the mind. Another baseball analogy there for you. But clear the mind, and then I think it's balanced too. I mean, work hard, play hard, and to keep fresh in the industry. That's an easy job for a restaurant guy. Yeah. So I go to every restaurant and try every kind of food and culture and R&D and man, that's a passion. So I think that's a balance. I think finding time for your family and finding time to ways to turn it off when you can. Is imperative to be. You got to recharge the batteries and be refreshed, and I think that's important.
Well, for you too. I mean, so headquarters is in Colorado.
Denver, yeah.
Yeah. So, you're also dealing with a little bit of a time change as well. So does that extend your workday, or can you start it? I mean, how does that affect you?
It does. I go about half my time. Since the pandemic, it's been changed a little bit because my family's here in New York.
Yeah.
So I spend about half my time pre-pandemic in Denver, going back and forth. So it's a little bit of a commute, but I'll go a week or two and then come back for a week or two. But typically what I like to do is balance. I think it's really important as a leader to not ever get too far away from the business.
Yeah.
Hear people saying work on the business and work in the business.
Yep.
I still work in the business at least 1 week out of the month. I'm in restaurants at least.
Yeah.
I think that's really important because my employees tell me what I'm doing right or wrong.
Yeah.
And they know me well enough now. They're not shy to tell me, hey, this is bad or this is good. So I think that's important too, to balance that. Right. So I spend a week try travel, looking at restaurants and looking at real estate and being involved in the restaurants. Then a week or two in the office and then a week at home. So I try to balance it that way.
Yeah. So that also keeps it's like a constantly changing environment. So that leads to freshness as well.
Absolutely. And it has changed so much. And then certainly during the pandemic, understanding the needs of our employees, of our guests, that changes literally monthly.
Yeah.
Through all the different challenges this country's been through over the last year and a half. And I look at my employees as frontliners, because they're dealing with the public every day. So their needs by restaurant change, and we have to be receptive to that. And if you get lost in the ivory tower, you don't know what's going on in the field, and that's the heartbeat of your business.
Yeah.
Is those people that work in those restaurants. So we try to keep a really close touch to that. My leadership team is very focused on being in restaurants all the time.
Yeah.
So that we understand the elements as they change. And you're right, the environment changes sometimes daily, especially in the last year and a half.
Yeah. No, totally. Where would you say, where is food going? Where is the food industry? Where is it headed? I know it's a broad question, but as somebody that's been in the industry for a long time, what do you see as the future of food?
Well, I think plant-based foods are up and coming. I think that's something that, we have a black bean burger that we're really proud of, but we're looking at plant-based foods. I think plant-based foods that are chemical free are part of the future. I think as far as segmenting the industry, I think fast casual is 100% future. I think fast casual is going to elevate even more. I think casual dining did a disservice to themselves in the 90s. We really squeezed margin too tight, and services got less. And it doesn't matter which company, but I worked for a company, and I remember they showed us a frozen artichoke dip, and they said it's almost as good as our original one, and it's frozen and it's pre-made and it's easier and it saves on labor and blah 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 blah. And that was the kiss of death. That was the beginning and the end of casual dining, because it was almost as good. Yeah. So I think the food business is going to need to get better. And I think people are going to demand more healthier choices. They'll still want decadent choices like a great burger, because when people go out to eat, they want to treat themselves. Yeah. So I think that's still there. But I think the food business has to elevate their game, and we have to continue to get better because the demand is going to be tighter and harder. Yeah. And the competition's fierce. And I think it's important that we continue to elevate. So I think fast casual will continue to elevate. I think casual dining will eventually learn, and I think they are learning, and you're seeing it in more of a polished premium kind of casual dining. And those brands are succeeding as they evolve and change. I do think that alternative ways of farming is coming, and it's very interesting, dynamic industry. But I think those are the massive changes that you're going to see quickly. Yeah, I think the demand is to get better. And if you're not getting better, you're going out of business. Yeah. So you continue to elevate your game, otherwise you won't be here. And I do think it'll be, some this battle of the strengths. Yeah, battle of the strongest to see who's going to survive this, because there's a lot of contraction. And I think that's really what's going to happen is people are going to have to understand it. You need to be excellent and strive to be excellent every single day and continue to be relevant and changing your product line and improving your products. I think the consumer is much more demanding than they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And I think that'll continue. Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, but. Yeah, no, it was great. I was just thinking too, alongside all of that I think the consumer too, they have more interest today, a certain type of consumer as to where their food is coming from. Like what is in this, as opposed to just that's, it's burger, good, okay, Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's transparency is important. It's funny. We had a company ask how one of these interviews asked me about a burger and how do we make a burger? What's in it and what filler and what this. I said, certified Angus beef and some seasoning. That's it. Yeah, beautiful. And a little butter on the grill. I mean, it's about real food, clean food. You're seeing that more and more, that people have that expectation. That's why we have chose not to go with some of the plant-based substitutes that are out there today, because they're chemical-based, and I don't believe that's healthy for us. Yeah. So I think that's going to be the demand, that people have transparency, clean food, higher level of quality, elevate quality. You're going to see it, I think, in every segment of the industry. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. I have a cattle farm upstate New York, and I get calls all the time from people that they want better food. They want to know where their meats come from, and they almost are a bit upset at some of the the chains out there and businesses in the food industry that have taken shortcuts and they moved away from what you restructured in your plan, where it's like, hey, better food, better taste, better food, better taste, better food. Ain't number one priority. Our chairman of JFC has made that crystal clear that every one of their companies, we need to focus on better quality food, better taste. If it tastes great and it's natural and it's good for you, I mean, that is the key to success.
Yeah.
Great taste, great product, better food, and then all the other pieces we can figure out with
Oh yeah.
great systems and process and people.
Hey, you know what? When you bite into something and it tastes great, the first thing you're thinking about afterwards is like, hey, I'm going to come back here at some point. And I think a lot of customers make that decision right at the table. We're coming back or we're not.
Yeah,
And it happens that quickly,
I think about 90% of guests in the industry don't tell you how you're doing.
Yeah.
And then the way they show you how you're doing is they don't come back. To your point,
Exactly.
and I'm probably one of those people. If I have a great quality food experience, you got me. I'll be back.
Yep.
If it's not great, it's okay, but I probably won't be back, because I think people work really hard for what they have in life, and they have a high expectation in today's world, and the cost of everything is going up, right? So people have this high expectation of what do I deserve after hard work and what I've earned, and they don't want to waste their hard-earned dollars on a less than stellar experience. So we have to strive for that every single day.
I love it. I love it. So I have one last question that I ask everybody, and I call it the Becoming a Champion show. We're always working to become champions at what it is that we do and who it is that we are. What does the word champion mean to you? And it can't be Paul O'Neill, even though he is one behind you.
Oh, you see? Yeah, you see Paul?
Yeah, I see him.
He's man, he is a champion. He's my favorite Yankee.
Yeah.
I have a few favorite Yankees of all time, and I've been a Yankee fan my whole life. Thurman Munson, and then Paul O'Neill.
Two guys have almost the same cut.
Yeah.
Two tough guys.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm really warming up to this Aaron Judge guy. He's pretty amazing. He's got such a great attitude and says all the right things and works so hard. Watching that guy make diving catches, that big body, and working so hard. I mean, that guy's a class act too. So I really pick my champions that way.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think if I define it, I go back to the quote. I would say, I think champions always strive to be perfect. Paul O'Neill's such a great example.
Oh yeah.
That guy was so hard on himself. He wasn't hard on anybody else, and he was
the water cooler. He was hard on the water cooler.
On the water cooler, yeah, he was hard on the water cooler. I like that about him, though. He's fiery,
Oh yeah.
But he's a wonderful man. I've met him once, but he's a wonderful father and part of the community. But to me, that's a champion. Somebody that strives for excellence every day, for perfection every day, and knowing that they're never going to get there. And they fight for it. So for me, that defines champion. Someone who strives for perfection every single day, knowing they're never going to get there, but they're going to be excellent and find excellence along the way. And maybe that's that Vince Lombardi quote that I'll never forget. But to me, that's the essence of champion. And for us at Smashburger, the way we do that is really answer three things. It's take care of our guests, take care of our team members, and take care of our shareholders. Every decision, if that's a WWW, boom, championship, we win. If it's a win for our team members, win for our guests, and a win for our shareholders, it's a good decision. And I think that does those kind of things that drive me.
Yeah. And I love the way you worded that. And you have a lot of these little things that you guys have internally that builds and creates and adds to that culture. And it seems like a culture that's built around winning the right way.
Always, you gotta, at the end of the night, you feel like a champion if you did everything the right way, and you put your head on the pillow and you said, I had a good day today. Yeah. I did something good. I accomplished something good. That's the feeling that, I yearn for that. And I think that's the kind of culture I try to create in at Smashburger. And I'm blessed to have such an incredible team that's bought into that kind of theory. Yeah. So no stopping us now.
No, I love it, man. So cool. Well, hope you enjoyed that episode with Carl Bachmann. I know I did. As a fellow Long Islander, I really appreciated him. And he's actually my neighbor. I found out that Carl's my neighbor. He lives a town over, from where my parents grew up. And it was very cool to share some stories about some of our local favorite venues that we know and enjoy. But some great lessons here. One was, you don't always have to be what your parents are or want you to be. Invest in your people, and it's okay to bring a sports culture and a culture of winning to business. some really great lessons, and I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I hope you did too. And like I always say, if you enjoyed it, take out a notebook, write down some things that you want to implement into your day-to-day life, into your company. Use these shows as a practical way for you to get better, because that's what it's all about. That's what the Becoming a Champion show is all about. It's about you getting better. And that's what I want for you. And that's what you should want for yourself. So this is Coach Dana Cavalea. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Becoming a Champion show. And if you did, thumbs up, comment, give us some love, and we'll see you next week. See ya.